Livestock producers were among the hundreds of women who showed up to last week's event. We were fortunate to get enough time with DTN's ShayLe Stewart to get her insights on the cattle trends and the latest in the cattle market. Here's our conversation. ShayLe, let's set the stage first of all. What have we seen so far in 2024 for these livestock complexes?
Terrific question, Alex. I'm so glad that you asked because 2024 has just really been an exciting year. We came out of 2023 with an aggressive, robust market, and we expected 2024 to be exactly that. But as we've gone through all of January, now we're realistically on the tail end of February, the market has surpassed our expectations, both on the live cattle and feeder cattle side of things, and even realistically on the bred cattle market. So 2024 has lived up to the expectation in which it thought it would hold, and really we're excited for the rest of the year as well.
Okay, let's dive into that a little bit. Live cattle complex,
Yes.
What is that market seeing? What are the factors?
So really the live cattle complex is extremely bullish right now. Really we're managing supplies well in regards to the feedlots and their show lists. Now that market's going to be strong likely through the entire year. We expect the market to see its greatest strength in the first half of the year. The second half should be strong as well, but we really expect that first half of the year to be strong. Right now we're just seeing an awesome environment in regards to feedlots because their show lists are manageable. They're able to see tremendous box beef demand, and packers, even though they've cut back on processing speeds just a little bit to help manage their own margin, we're still seeing good enough throughput that supplies aren't becoming burdensome.
Okay, that's a good stage for the live cattle market. What about feeders?
Ooh, I'm glad that you asked about feeders because that's potentially the most exciting part of the market right now. I don't care where you're at in the country, demand is strong. And one thing that I just really think could be the poster child for 2024 in understanding just how strong the cattle market is that understanding that as we sit here today in February, we are seeing grass calves for this upcoming spring and summer already being bought. And that really comes down to two reasons. Number one, buyers don't believe that there's going to be enough calves to go around in this upcoming season, so they're already procuring their needs. They're already supplying themselves and just buying the calves that they need. And then second of all, if we get closer to grass, essentially, theoretically, prices should just get stronger and higher. And I mean, feeder cattle prices are already incredibly strong, and if they continue to get higher, buyers are wondering if they're going to be able to pencil in a break even on those individuals. So, last year we saw an extremely strong feeder cattle market that gained anywhere from 56 to 70 cents per pound in the marketplace, but it's anticipated the USDA forecast that came out last week shared that we could see as much as another 30 cents tacked on to the high made last year in this upcoming year. So the feeder cattle market is extremely strong, and cow-calf producers have a lot to be excited for.
And that goes right into the bred market. What are you seeing in that?
Well, it's just as crazy to me. I touched on the strength in the feeder cattle market, but the bred cow market, it's been that too. In the fourth quarter of 2023, we didn't see maybe as high a prices as what we thought, and I think that just kind of came down to a factor weighing decision-making process for producers. They didn't really know what the winter was going to be. They didn't know what these prices were going to do. They knew that they were going to be strong, but what were the hard logistics? And now that we've seen that the winter's been relatively open and favorable, yeah, there's been some really hard storms that have came through at specific times, but by and large, it's been a nice open winter, and we're seeing these bred female prices be very strong.
ShayLe, we'll get into an outlook short-term and long-term, but is there anything to note in the lean hog complex right now that producers should be aware of?
Demand continues to be something that the lean hog complex is watching closely, and obviously, with the note that China is reducing their domestic sow herd, that brings an opportunity to the market for U.S. producers that hopefully exports will be stronger, and they take delight in that.
Okay, let's look into an outlook. What producers should be focusing on, start in the short term? What does that look like for them?
If we just break the market down into maybe this upcoming quarter, I think that's something that cow-calf producers, I'll kind of speak to them individually. They really need to be watching both the live cattle market and the feeder cattle market. Live cattle in regards to, that's obviously who pays them, right? That's who procures their calves. That's who comes in and buys their feeders. And so if they're making more money, they can hopefully trickle that down. And so one thing that's going to affect feedlots gravely is beef demand. And thankfully, even though we're in February right now, which is historically a point in time in which we don't see strong beef demand, beef prices are holding incredibly strong. And then second, we do need to watch throughput, just simply because if packers start to manage supplies and build up supply around them, that's going to lessen their need to continue to engage and support the cash cattle market. And so that could be problematic. But realistically, I think that the market just really holds a strong position and a foothold that will be its talking point for the years to come, is that 2024 was just a robust and strong strong market. Now, as we talk long term, I think that cattlemen need to be aware that, and always thinking one step ahead, right? Because that we don't want to be caught in the market's woes. And so the big question is when is the U.S. cow herd going to rebuild, and how is it going to rebuild? And that's not something that we've seen yet. We've not seen heifers being retained yet, and so that tells us that we are either in a stale phase or we're continued in the liquidation. I believe that we are continuing in the liquidation phase because our beef cow slaughter is still aggressive. Not nearly as aggressive as what it was in 2022 or 2023, but we're still seeing cows come to town. And largely that's being factored in simply because cull cow prices are still strong. Now, once we start to see that pendulum shift and we see producers retaining females, cow-calf producers need to be aware about how that's going to shift the markets and its supply and demand mechanisms. But that's not something that's likely going to be on the forefront of anybody's mind, as it's not really expected to hit the market until maybe 2025, maybe 2026.